myths, tips, and techniques, family. This rising family, I wanted to talk to you about those two different types of welding, two different types of processes, but it actually has the same gun. So with one gun, we can do two different processes. So we can do flux core without gas. We can do flux core with gas. We can do MIG welding with basic MIG welding on regular steel, just using regular carbon MIG. You can do post. You can do globular. You can do spray. So you have a few different processes you can do with the MIG. But this is all used with the same gun, fam, with the same gun. So some people literally think that learning this process is real complicated, and it's not. To me, the MIG welding process is one of the easiest processes to learn. You can learn this process here literally. I have taught people how to do this in all positions in 1 week. 1 week. Now, this is one full week, like working 8 hours. Like just so doing 8 hours a day, I have taught people, how to do this in 1 week, and it was sufficient. It was good. And as you go, family, you get more and more knowledge on this. But I would say, I would recommend about 2 weeks, I'm going to just say, just to break up the time. 2 weeks, you can learn the MIG welding process, fam. And I really think it's a benefit because there's a lot of things you can do with MIG. So the first thing I want to say you can do with MIG is you can fabricate and make different things in the shop. Ornamental, working on gates, fences, repairs, building things, artwork, custom things. Like you can do so much with MIG welding. And on the other side of it, when you're using MIG, you can say flux core, and now you can do heavy stuff like bridges, girders, different type of beams and columns. So there's so much you can do that requires a hotter temperature, and you can be able to do what we like to call. I was in the class, I would say third class, or was it my fourth class? Yeah, it's my third welding class. I graduated at the academy. Me and one of the students was talking about the MIG welding process, and we said MIG welding, flux core welding, is like stick welding on steroids. Because now all you gotta do is hit this trigger right here and let it go, and you ain't got a stick rod. And I'm gonna say that because when you're welding with flux, and now we're talking about flux core right now, we're talking about flux without gas. And this is the picture I got up here, is flux without gas. And then on this side, fam, we got MIG, regular MIG, push MIG, short circuit MIG. So now we're literally talking about short circuit MIG, and we're talking about self-shielded flux core. So those are two things that we're talking about this rising. Thanks for checking in. Salute. Thanks for checking in. Hog on, family, hog on. Right now we're going live on 2 different platforms. We are on TikTok. So salute to my family on TikTok. Thanks for checking in with me this rising. And we're also going live on YouTube. Thanks for my YouTube family for checking in. We appreciate everybody for hitting that like button, family. Hit that like button. Keep them likes up. Share the channel and tell someone about it. Today we're just going to go live. So if you have any questions, hop in, fam. Let me know if you have something that you need to always wondered about. And today, while we're going live doing this, I can see if I can assist you in it. So the main thing we want to talk about first, fam, before I dive deep into it, we're going to talk about some of the myths in it. And a lot of times we think that diving into something like flux core or MIG, one of the myths is they don't believe it's strong enough. Well, it can be, fam, depends on what you're doing. Now, short circuit MIG doesn't get great penetration. It doesn't get great penetration. But if you're doing like a post or a spray, you can get better penetration using a MIG process. But short circuit MIG itself doesn't get great penetration. But you can use the same welder you got trying to do short circuit MIG, and you can put the flux core in. Now you can be able to get a deeper penetration, but the weld is going to look a little different. It's going to like you stick welding. So with the MIG, you're always doing a manipulation. If it's back and forth, if it's circular motion, if it's some type of C's or something, you're going to be doing some type of motion. So remember that when you're doing a flux core. Flux core without gas is just like stick welding. So to me, it's like stick welding with a 60-10 rod or a 60-11 rod, because the weld, literally, you have to do some manipulations to get the weld to look like you want it to look, to have the characteristics of the dimes that you're looking for. You're going to have to manipulate the flux core without gas. So just keep that in mind, fam. I don't want you to get sidetracked on that. And when you're doing the MIG welding process, it's the same way, fam. You got to manipulate it. You got to do something when you're doing it, and it just make the bead look a whole lot slicker. So don't dive into the MIG welding process and just push it. Now, you can weld like this if you're making art. So if you're making art and you're doing something I would say like a corner joint or something that doesn't need penetration, or you're just trying to keep it together, you can just push it. But anytime you do this here, you make the weld stronger if you got any type of ripples in it. And that's just in my personal opinion. I just think that's a great tip. Let me stop for a second to check out YouTube. I'm going to make sure I lock the messages in so we can keep everybody locked in. We appreciate the support that's rising. What you say? Yes, you can use flux core just like you use stick, family, doing overhead and vertical. So you can do both. So you can do all positions using the flux core and using the MIG. Now, one thing I would say, when you're using flux core, I would recommend you go uphill. Now, you can go downhill too, because you can go downhill with stick. So with flux core, you can actually do both, no problem. Downhill with it, make it smoother for you, or uphill. I would recommend you can do both. But MIG though, it's more recommended that you go downhill, for sure. You want to go downhill with the MIG because it's faster. Normally in manufacturing shops or plants or assembly lines or fabrication shops, they're going to be going downhill with it because it's faster. And that's why one thing they love about MIG, because it's a zip, 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 zip. You can just zip, 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 zip yourself around there, and it's a faster process, and you don't have to literally try to go uphill and have to do some type of patterning with it, So normally with MIG, so I had welded on some MIG that required me to take 3 tests. One time it was for a company in southeast Arkansas called Safe Holland. They had a weld test that required you to take 3 weld tests, 1-inch coupons, downhill, overhead, and flat on a 1-inch coupon, and they was doing posts. They was doing post MIG, so it was running hot, and we was posting. So when you're posting, you don't have to do that pattern. Now you can do something, but you don't have to. But you can do it to make sure you tie it into the side walls and all that. But that process was pretty cool. That's the only time I ever took a test with MIG on that thick of a coupon. Normally, it was always cosmetic things like T-joints, lap joints, buck joints, and different positions. That's normally the tests I took just on some basic MIG welding. Flux core. Now we want to talk about the need of both. So like I say, most MIG, you're going to be doing shop things, art things, fabrication. Now when it comes to this flux core without gas, fam, this is going to be a great process for those who do field welding, mobile welding, repairs, installs. You're doing gates, fences, handrails, whatever in the field. That flux core, fam, can save you so much time hitting this trigger than just throwing them rods out all the time. have rods everywhere. You can put that flux core wire in there. You can use 035 is what I would recommend, at least 035 in the field. And family, you can do a lot of amazing things with that flux core. And I want to say something just so y'all know. Flux core welding is strong, so that's another myth to it too. So that's another myth I want to clarify, because they think, oh man, they got no gas on it. Man, you think that stuff? It is strong, family. It's all based on the person doing the right techniques. So I just want you to keep in mind, and a couple things to keep in mind when you're diving into this flux core and MIG welding. If you're a beginner and you never did this before, that's a few things I want to show you real quick. So before I do, fam, I want to stop over here and see if anybody says something on TikTok. What's going on, family? I appreciate y'all for checking in. I appreciate y'all for checking in. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for the support. Actually, flux core penetrates better than MIG. Honestly, it really does. With gas or without gas now, unless you're using post with the MIG. So just keep that in mind. If it's post or spray, you can get good penetration. But flux core with gas, they're gonna always use on heavy material because you're gonna get a better penetration. We have a company here in Little Rock, a few companies in Little Rock that do heavy metal, and all of them are using flux core. And I have seen some use a SMAW, so submerged arc welding. So you even gonna see submerged arc welding on that flux core welding. But there's a company here called Lexicon, and they got flux core welding at Prospect Steel, and then they got flux core welding at Custom Metals. Now the difference between the two is one do more structural, the other one do more custom things like vessels and there's different type of alloys. You might be on stainless, you might be on some type of nickel or whatever. They do different things. So that's the main thing, but flux core gives a lot of penetration. I have seen one over there and visit the plant, and I've literally seen a base plate that was 4 inches thick of steel, and they was having something that was welded into it that was like 2 inches thick, and they had it at a bevel where you got to weld it all solid on one end, and then you got to come with solid on the other end, and all of this is with flux core. So flux core is a win-win. Now, this type of flux core that we're talking about today is self-shielded flux core, which you're going to use a lot of this outside. You use this in the construction field. Construction do a lot of, we use this technique. You might have a thicker wire or 4-5 wire, but they use a lot on structural, filling in, moment welds, things like that. And you do have a different tolerance, but it's strong. They actually use flux core when they put up one of the steel buildings in Las Vegas. And I remember watching the video, and the guy said they used enough wire that would run from New York to California. Wire. Now, that's a lot of wire, fam. That's a lot of miles. He said that's how much wire it took. But he said if we would have tried to stick weld this project, man, we would have been on this project forever. So stick welding versus flux or MIG is just a little slower process. It's still good. You still use it a lot, but it's going to be done in the field. So I just want to say that. So before I dive back in, let me see if anybody else says something. Thanks for checking in, TikTok. Thanks for checking in, YouTube. Let me say I got a couple messages. Salute. Thanks for checking in. Grand Rising. Tips for acetylene. I actually got a video already up in my archives on YouTube about how to use a cutting torch. And I got a few different tips in there already available. But one tip I just throw out since someone asked me a question about it, I would say when you're using acetylene, you don't want to, one tip I would say, never open your bottles all the way up. Don't do this, just a quarter turn. So that's one tip I would give you, just a quarter turn, you fine. So if anything happened, it's easy to throw something over there, a glove or shirt, and cut it off if something happened, because it is unstable. It is an unstable gas, but we still use it a lot, but it is unstable. Another tip I would give you is when you're using a cutting torch, I want to say this, when you're using a cutting torch and you got the full layout, and I actually got my cutting torch I left it. I don't have it here right now, but I'll make sure I get it for next weekend. I'm gonna make sure I have it. But I have a small cutting torch and a big cutting torch set, so I'm gonna bring the small cutting torch set in. But the small cutting torch and the big one, they're still set up the same. When you cut on your gas, your acetylene, you want to have, I would say, about 25 to 30 pounds is fine. I think that's plenty to start off with. And when you getting ready to cut on your torch, make sure you cut your oxygen all the way on first, but you close the mixing chamber. That way, it's only coming out when you hit the switch. So now you can cut on your gas, you can crack it. Just like I said again, the same way you don't do it like this on the bottom, you don't want to do your acetylene like that on the torch neither. You just want to crack it, get a nice little piece coming out. Once you get your flame stabilized, then you add to remove the smoke, so that way it won't be real thick. You know what I mean? And then you kind of determine how you want it, and then you can add your oxygen from your mixing chamber. You see what I'm saying? So always remember A does come before O, or you might blow. So somebody told me that, and I love that concept, so just keep that in mind. So back to the MIG welding, fam. One thing I want to show you, one thing that is a great big difference. When you're using MIG wire, look at this. Looks kind of copper looking color, goldish looking color. This is what MIG wire looks like. Now this is 035. I like to use 035 at home, out in the field fabricating, or 03. So 03, 035 are the two that I use the most. So, but at home, normally I buy this one. It's about a decent number. So normally it looks like this. So, and this is technically the same wire you can use when you're TIG welding. It just be a little thicker, but I have seen people use it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a thicker wire, but it's the same pretty much makeup, pretty much a TIG welding. Now when you have the self-shielded flux, you see it looks more nickel looking color. You know, it got a different tint to it. So it looks a lot different. But this is 035. Now I like the 035 most definitely in the flux. I think it's better, puts a little bit more into it and all of that. I think it gives better penetration, and then you can get a little better voltage. Thanks for checking in. I appreciate the support. Thanks for checking in. So the main thing I would say is know the difference when you're getting ready to buy it, because I have had beginners come in and they didn't know the difference. Thanks for checking in, fam. I see my camera trying to do some funny stuff here on TikTok, my bad. I believe it's because of the light trying to come in, my bad. So the main thing I want to say is you have two different sizes, but I would recommend 035 in both sizes. 035 in my MIG, 035 in my flux, especially if I'm a shop person and I'm doing things around the shop and you got your own small, unit set up, you can be able to flip it out. Now, I will say this. When you're hooking up your flux core from your MIG unit, you have to reverse your polarity. So keep that in mind. When you're trying to weld it, it's not going to be able to weld on the same polarity that you got your MIG set on. You're going to have to reverse it. So reverse that, and then you'll be fine. So I want to say that because most people are like, man, it ain't welding right. I can't get it right. And a lot of times when I see they welds and they looking all bad and popping, I was like, did you reverse the polarity? And normally they didn't. Some people think that some machines probably do come with a push button. You just push flux and you don't have to reverse it. Like the newer machines, just hit the flux core button and you don't have to reverse nothing. And you hit the MIG button and it does it itself. But a lot of these small ones, like, the home units, and these are great units. This are the 140s, the 180 units by Lincoln. If you don't want to break the bank, family, these are great units, like great units. I buy them. So you see, this is one of my personal units, and I have had Miller units too. But I'm going to be in my personal opinion for a good shop person, man. You're not trying to break the bank. You want someone reliable with a reliable name. I like the Lincoln 140 and the Lincoln 180. The 140 I like, the 180 I like because you can do 110 or 120 and 220. You got two different plugs. So to me, that's a bigger asset, especially if you are a mobile welder. You can switch it up around. Depends on what power supply you got when you're networking. So all depends on what you're doing, but I would say one of those good units would be great. Another one of the techniques I would say, I want to throw a technique out there. Remember that if you know how to stick weld, it's going to be easy for you to do MIG welding or flux core welding. I always teach the students the hardest process first. And stick welding is normally the hardest process first, so I like to teach it first. And getting the stick welding techniques makes it easy to go over to the MIG, to the flux core. So once we get there, normally they'll take off because they're like, man, this ain't nothing. You know what I mean? And they can be able to do more. So I would say it'll be easy for you to learn it if you're already a stick welder. Another thing I want to say as for a myth in this is something literally you don't have to go to school to learn. So some people ask, hey, I gotta go to school? You can get a tutor. I have seen people learn it online. There are a lot of different videos you can purchase that is very precise to show you how to weld with this gun. I have seen some videos that literally you can purchase that the guy's showing you the process. I got some videos out that literally I'm showing you the MIG process in positions where you can see me from different angles. Now coming soon, I'm going to have some better quality videos where you can be able to see the weld better. Some of the ones I had at first, I didn't have the right camera with the lens, and then I started using a welding lens, which is that's a good idea too. So for those who are shooting their footage and they're trying to show those different angles, you can get you a standard welding lens and put in front of that camera, and it will help you. I want to give those a tips for my young welders that's doing media too, or my young entrepreneurs, because a lot of times when you're getting started, you have to do a lot of things yourself. So I've learned just several things. So I would say one of the myths though is you can learn this yourself. Practice does make perfect, but I would say make sure you learn it from someone that's seasoned, or you're watching someone that's seasoned. That way you don't master the wrong thing, and then you argue with someone because you learned the wrong process. I've seen some people do it. Man, I've been doing this, man. I said, but it ain't the right way to do it. You know what I mean? It can look better, a whole lot better, and if you do it this way. You know what I mean? So don't be stuck on one way of doing things. I will say this. There's a lot of different people that come with different techniques and styles, so you can be flexible on your style, on your technique. I've seen people use different techniques, from circular motion, from back and forward motion, from C's to stepping, whatever you want to do. You do have options when it comes to using this MIG welding process. So the MIG and the flux, the one thing I love about this is because you can do the shop and the field with the gun. You know what I mean? So the stick welding process is more things you have to do, and I like the stick welding process. I love the stick welding process, but if it's more economical, and that's one thing I want to say. It's more economical as a tip. If you're building things or making things, it's more economical to use wire, because you can get a little spool just like this one. It's a little 10-pound spool. You can get you a good spool, and you can do a lot of welding with the spool, fam. A lot of welding, and with either or, you can do a lot of welding. So when you have things like this, and you know the difference between the two, you can save yourself a lot of time and a lot of headaches. And I want to say this too, just as a tip for entrepreneurs that's buying things and diving into welding. You don't have to break the bank. There's a lot of places you can go to buy affordable welding supply things. I would say though, if you don't need it immediately, like today or yesterday, you know what I mean? Like, if you don't need it immediately, nowadays it saves you a lot of money just to order it online. I'm gonna be honest with you, fam. I have saved more money, and I have got deals where I bought 2 for 1, 2 and got 3 for half price. You know what I'm saying? So there are many good brands online that you can buy stuff from. So I wouldn't just say a certain one. Just find you some good deals to save you some money, to purchase you some of the things you need, so that way you can learn the process, but you don't have to break the bank. For those who want to learn from home, I would say, and you want to buy your own equipment, you don't have to break the bank. And then, like I say, then again, these small units you can find on, they got all type of welders. So nowadays, I can't say that this new brand doesn't work, because they got different ones that work. So whatever fits your budget, whatever you can use. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't just say, this brand, that brand, but I just, this is what I buy. So if you see something that in my vicinity, like literally that's what I would spend my money on, that's what I spend my money on, and I know that it'll last for a while, you know what I mean? So a lot of times I don't like to try certain things unless somebody else tried for a while and it worked for them. I say, oh yeah, I'm messing with it now since he tried. But I'd rather stick with what works, fam, you know what I mean? So one thing I want to say is that learning this, it doesn't take a lot of time. Like I say, you can learn the flux core with gas, how to pass the test, how to do it in different positions, how to read the prints. You can do these things, this process, in our 8-week program. So the goal in the 8-week program is to teach a person how to do flux core welding. Now, in the private program, my goal is to be able to teach a person the MIG and the flux, because you can do both. It's just 2 different wires. So in the private program, you'll be able to learn both of them in 8 weeks, MIG and flux. Now, in the school program that we're going to have, it's going to be a standard. It's going to be basically flux core with gas. So, it all depends on what a person want to learn. You can get private classes. So if you just want to learn flux on a Sunday, we can schedule that with someone. So coming soon, Union City, Georgia, coming soon, Little Rock, Arkansas, North Little Rock, however it falls, we're planning on having a facility up where we can start teaching these private classes soon. So we're gonna have the school and private classes available. So the main goal is to really help with the need of the area, make it affordable, make it where people can really get it and get some jobs, fam. My goal is to focus on fast track. That's why I say 8 weeks and 16 weeks is my goal. 16 weeks gonna be more for a combinational type of welding, where you'll be learning all the processes as far as the MIG, the stick, and the flux. The 8 weeks gonna be more on the MIG and the flux core welding. So just wanted to throw that out there. So for those who are thinking about getting some education from me, all you have to do is email me at yourweldingcoach at gmail.com, and just say, hey man, I want to acquire some of the classes. Right now I'm working on the website. I'm actually working on a couple of things, but we're going to have it in Union City, Georgia. So for those who are in that area, and for those who are in the Little Rock area, Central area, you can just tell me where you at, which one you're trying to gain some more information on. So if you want to leave a call, to leave a message, you can leave a message on the number for Little Rock is 501-400 5806. So if you call and inquiring classes about Little Rock, you can text that number. Someone will respond. It's 501-400 5806. That's the Little Rock Your Welding Coach. If you're in the Georgia area and you're in Georgia and you want to require some classes and you want to call or leave a message, normally if a person misses your call, someone will reach you back. But make sure you leave a text or leave a voicemail saying what you're calling for. But if you're in Georgia area or in that area and you want to sign up and leave a message, call the number 404-368-6050. That's 404-368-6050. So if you're in the Georgia area, you call that number. If you're in the Little Rock, Arkansas area, Central area, call 501-400 5806. Now you can leave a message and you can text to inquire about the classes. Right now we're still working on the prices. It's not going to break the bank. but everything should be coming soon. The goal is to start our classes in the fall. So hopefully by fall we'll have something going, or maybe sooner before that. But by fall is our goal, so we got some time. So if y'all wanna get y'all hog on with us, fam, make sure that y'all tune in with us and email. And for those who are looking for some of the gear, some of the hog on gear, fam, I got different shirts on available on Amazon, probably over 10 different colors. So all you have to do is go to Amazon and put in hog on welding t-shirts, hoodies, tank tops. I got all type of gear, fam. So just put in hog on welding on Amazon, and y'all get your hog on with me, man. I appreciate everybody for checking in. And like I said, today I wanted to go over the MIG welding flux core welding process, because I have had several people ask me about how to do this. Yes, you can use the 03 or the 035 wire, either or, whichever one works best for you. Hold up for a second. I see the sun is really starting to come in here on this camera. Thanks for checking in. I appreciate everybody for checking in with me. Like I say, there's a lot of different things you can do with this process. There's a lot of money that can be made. There's a lot of doors that can be opened from doing field welding and doing flux core. From flux core to MIG welding, I'm sorry. So this is a shop/field welding thing where you can use one gun and kill several birds in one stone. You know, I'm from the South. Grand Rising, family, Grand Rising. I'm from the South, and we love to say, we killing several birds in one stone, fam. Using that gun, the MIG welding process, 2 different wires, you're killing several birds, literally, with one stone. And it's not a hard process, fam. So I would say just getting the basics of it, 2 weeks, family, you can get the basics of it. So like I say, coming soon, we're gonna be having private classes. I'm gonna be having some video courses that a person can get that's gonna be more fine-tuned, that you can purchase, that you can keep in your archive, and you can share after you get them. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna be able to have some ways where you can literally get the skill set on the video for those who don't have access at all. But then I really feel that welding is hands-on. So it's always better to find someone where you can get in a setting and y'all can put your hands on it. You know what I mean? I think a person learns a lot more once you hear it, you write it, and you do it. You get it, fam? You hear it, you write it, you do it. And I think we'll learn a whole lot more from welding if we keep that type of process up. Like I say, today I just wanted to go and talk to y'all about this because I think it's a need. I think it's a need for the education, because a lot of people think there's not a lot of money in this. So before I leave, one of the myths I want to break, there is good money in MIG welding. There is money you can make in just flux core welding. So there's companies even here in Arkansas that are starting you out MIG welding between between $17 and $20 an hour, just MIG welding. So you got companies that just do the MIG. You got companies that's doing the flux core welding that's starting you out between $17 and $22 an hour. Flux core welding. So it all depends on what you want, family. There is money in it, but these are going to work, coming back home. So for those who don't want to travel, you can go to work and come back home with both of these processes, and you can make decent money. I know people that literally is making anywhere from between 40 and 60,000 a year using these processes, and that's decent money. So you got to think, as an entrepreneur, we like to invest our money. So one thing you can do when you're doing these processes, you can invest your money. You can make that amount and every week put $100, $200 back towards your investment, towards your business venture. You know what I mean? So this process can be very rewarding. We just have to think outside the box. The goal is, I heard a gentleman say, when you are learning about financial literacy and how to divide your money, he said he started off putting a quarter back of what he made. He said, hey man, that's my goal. I make this amount, I want to at least put a quarter back or 10%, and just say, I want to put 10. And then he said he went to the point where he said, you know what, he figured out that, man, I'm working too hard. I got to figure out a way to put half of this back and make an investment in it so that way he can keep going. And then he figured out, he said, I figured out that, man, I'm still working hard. I need to put 75% and I need to live on 25. So I need to make this 75% work in a different area. And you can do this with this process while you're living off this 25%. Now, we all have to learn how to manage our money. We go to different stages in this. But just getting started, family, I just wanted to clear up the myth that you can make a lot of money. This can be your door opener. This can be your business venture. This can be the thing you use to make your resources and live comfortable. You can do it. You can do it, fam. You can do it. So for those who think you can't, fam, you can do it. So I just want to say thanks for checking in, fam. Thanks for checking in. All right, I see you coming in from Louisiana. Post Arc is good too. Post Arc is good too. I literally just said something about that. Post Arc is good too. All of these processes that you can use with the MIG, fam, is just a great thing, and it doesn't take a whole lot. I just want to say that it doesn't take a whole lot to learn, but in an 8-week program, family, you can get not only the welding process, but you can get the weld symbols. You can get the cutting torch, the plasma torch, the cutting torch, the art gouger, how to use the tape measure. So there's a lot of different things you get out of the program that we are designing. So, and our goal is to help fast track. There's a lot of programs out here right now that's 6 months, 9 months. There's a lot of them that specialize in pipe welding, taking you. I want to be focused on fast track to help people dive into employment because people need jobs now. I mean, we got to eat now, not 9 months, 6 months from now. So the quicker I can get it to get a person wrapped around the concept and then cause them to keep repeating the process and learning on the job, you can change somebody's life. So that's why I love the welding, because this process can literally change somebody's life, can put you in a better state, a better position, but you have to start somewhere. You literally have to start somewhere, fam. So I would say for those who are thinking about diving into welding, family, no matter where you are in the country. Dive into welding. So just wanted to give a shout out again for all those who have tuned in with me this rising. I appreciate those who are going live with me on YouTube, and also those who are going live with me on TikTok, man. I appreciate my family. Everything is Your Welding Coach, family. Your Welding Coach on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Y'all check it out. And also, I have the Hog On Welding / Hog On University. You can just put in Hog On University and the Hog On Welding to pop up. So y'all just check me out. Like I said, my goal is to bring more welding awareness to the community, and to let people know that you can literally get some wealth. You can learn this from home. You can learn this in a school setting from a tutor. You can learn it online. But like I say, I always feel that it's greater to learn it hands-on. It's not like a finance course. It's not like, I can give it in a way where the literature can be online, but in order to get you where you can get a job, it got to be hands-on, fam. Some things have to be where you literally have to get in that element, because it's better to learn it from that standpoint. So I appreciate everybody for checking in, man. Y'all be blessed, continue to prosper. I actually got a meeting I got to go to here soon, so I'm gonna go to this meeting soon, and hopefully everything go well here and I get some more education. I'm always educating myself. So y'all be blessed, continue to prosper, keep getting your hog on, and learn the MIG and the flux core process. It's like killing two birds, bow, bow, with one stop. Y'all be blessed. I'm out.